leave is sought to make a personal explanation on what matter?
Mr. Speaker, I was challenged on some numbers I used earlier by the Minister.
Oh no. Those are debating points, and they're debating points, and the member has a chance to debate those during the course of a meeting. During the course of the debate, a member can put their argument. They're disputable, but a personal statement is where you have been something has been said that you take offence to, as opposed to the material. Just to correct numbers, though, is a debating point. So, well, I did. She told me what she was going to do. I'm going to talk. Sepuloni, Carmel Sepuloni.
Mr. Speaker, I seek leave to table some information that confirms the numbers around benefit reductions that the Minister said was incorrect. PQ 4740, PQ 6927.
Is this in the public domain?
Yes, but the Minister doesn't seem to know them,
well,
Mr. Speaker.
Well, that doesn't matter. No, I'm not. I'm calling Derek Bull.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to rise on behalf of New Zealand First. It's my pleasure to rise on behalf of New Zealand First in support of this bill, sir. But we do have...
Order. Now, I'd like to hear Derek Bull.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to rise on behalf of New Zealand First to speak on the Social Security Extension of Young Persons Services and Remedial Matters Amendment Bill, and we will be supporting this bill through to Select Committee, because there are a few questions that we would like to flesh out and some concerns that we'd like to hear some explanations for. But fundamentally, the bill itself and the purpose and the intent of the bill is a good one. At the moment, we've got young parent or youth who are on young parent payments eligible from 16 to 18 and on youth payment from 16 to 17. And the provision of the wraparound services for the youth is obviously a good one. And the extension of that on the face of it and the intent and purpose of that is a very good one. So that's why we're supporting it, but I'll get to the issues and questions shortly, sir. So with those youth that are on those payments, I have worked with some of them throughout my previous career. I was in the military, in the army, and I worked with LSV, and a few of them were on those payments. I also worked with the youth in the community, and most, if not all of them, were on some sort of youth payment. And also, to some extent, I worked when I was a secondary school teacher, I could see those children, or those youth, who will be moving on to those payments. So I've got a little bit of context about what those struggles are for those youth, and the need for the wraparound services that this youth service does provide them, and the benefit of being able to extend those the ability to be on the young parent payment or the youth payment itself. So I'd like to just mention first what the intent is and why New Zealand First agrees with it. So going to the departmental disclosure statement, it's extending the existing youth service to all 19-year-old beneficiaries with children and 18 and 19-year-old beneficiaries without children who are considered at significant risk of long-term welfare and dependency. New Zealand First agrees with that. The youth service provides wraparound support to young people with the aim of reducing long-term welfare dependency. That's obviously a good thing, sir, and New Zealand First supports that intent of the bill. As a result of this extension, 19-year-old parents will have obligations for full-time education leading towards the NCA Level 2, budgeting courses, youth coach, go on parenting courses, and if they meet all the obligations, they'll get a $10 incentive every week, and they'll be money managed, sir. But one of the concerns position that we're coming from, sir, is that this is just another form of an ambulance at the bottom of the cliff. So if we're looking at the youth service, those youth who need the youth service and youth payments and youth benefits needed to get to that stage to begin with. And if we're looking at extending that, is that solving a problem? Or is that just making the ambulance a little bit bigger at the bottom of the cliff? So what are the questions that need to be answered by the Minister, and hopefully that will be fleshed out during the Select Committee process, is what are the reasons behind why those youth are getting to that stage in the first place. We've got, one of them is the obvious, we've got very high youth unemployment. We've had consistently high youth unemployment for some years, and especially in the regions. We've got high youth unemployment in the regions, and that leads itself to higher beneficiary numbers and in the regions, and especially with our youth. But obviously it's a complex situation. So we've got problems with the ability for these youth to have a proper education or fit in within the formal education system. We've got the job creation. Where are the jobs that these youth will be going into if they're not in any formal education? And where are the training opportunities? So the government can talk about the needs, the youth not in education, employment or training, but where is the solution? And the solution is not another ambulance at the bottom of the cliff extending an existing service that catches those who are in need. And the answer definitely is not, sir, making it mandatory, with mandatory provisions put on those youth that do take the benefit. By making it mandatory, it's an indirect admission that there are failures elsewhere in the system that are failing these youth. Not only do the youth not have the opportunity to make those proper decisions that they would not need to have be in the benefit, but those options are not out there and readily available for them to choose in the first place. So that's one of the concerns from New Zealand First, sir. One of the concerns also has already been brought up by the Labour members, which are the risk predicting tools. One of the main reasons is because it has the potential to discriminate against some youth, and it has the potential to pigeonhole some youth when there is no need for that to happen or to occur in the first place, unjustly and unjustifiably. And a lot of the time throughout the debates in this House, we have the government standing up and saying that one of their principles, one of their aims in all of their policies is to ensure there's a maintenance of equitability and fairness. But with the predictor models and predictor tools and risk predictor tools, there is a lean towards going away from equitability and away from fairness. And we've got to remember also that by extending this out, we've got 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds. They're not children, they're not minors, these are adults who are being pigeonholed and cubbyholed, and they have the potential to be stigmatised, and they have the potential to have labels placed on them. So what I'd like to go on to, sir, is actually going into the regulatory impact statement, which talks about the risk modelling. So it says that through risk modelling, MSD can determine which young beneficiaries have the highest risk and would benefit the most from the youth service, and risk modelling is used to target services to those that are most in need. Risk factors for long-term benefit dependencies include, but are not limited to, low education levels, benefit history, previous contact with SIFs, and parents or siblings with the benefit history. So firstly, it's including but not limited to, so who decides what those criteria are, and how are those criteria or boxes going to be ticked. So what we'll have, sir, is potential to have, for example, two 19-year-olds who are receiving two levels of different types of service, and that will only be dependent on those criteria. And those outcomes are dependent on, obviously, the use of the risk predictive tool. So, for example, one will be getting a $10 extra bonus a week if they maintain the obligations, and the other will not. So where is the equitability and where is the fairness in that? And who decides? We've also got a couple of issues with the investment approach in itself, sir. And the regulatory impact statement indicates that it's actually too early to accurately measure the reduction of average years on the benefit, and it's not possible to isolate effects of the youth service interventions from other influences to date. So on the one hand, we've got the regulatory impact statement saying that there's not enough data, there's not enough proof, but then we've got the Minister and the national backbenchers standing up and saying that this is all working fine, the youth service is doing a great job. But where is the data? Where is the evidence that they're going to use for the investment approach? We've also got some advice and some opinions on the bill, sir, from the team parent units. So at the moment, the team parent units, there is no comparison between this youth service payment and the team parent units. So in order to be consistent with the intention of the bill, the government must look at existing eligibility age range for young parents attending team parent units, because this currently excludes the 19-year-old parents to which the bill extends youth services. And identifies as likely to spend an average of 18 years on the benefit on a lifetime. So currently, young parents need to be enrolled before they turn 19 and eligible, in order to be eligible. This is in conflict with the extension bill. So there are a few questions that come out, sir, and there are a few concerns that New Zealand First has that we would like to have answered and robustly discussed at the Select Committee. At this stage, we'll be supporting it through to Select Committee, and I look forward to discussing it there. Thank you.